Voices. Student Outreach is an inclusive career counseling initiative that provides us students with various opportunities for profile building, be it student club activities, workshops, and many leadership opportunities in variety of student-led events. Alongside it, we as students also receive guidance for applications and admissions to the universities of our choice. Now, I believe that's a very big plus. Whereas coming to Voices, where we all meet today, is the podcast hosted at Student Outreach, an amazing platform where from industry leaders like our guest here today, uh, to senior educators from school and higher ed space, and also us students share our perspective and opinions openly in a very unfiltered and unbiased manner on variety of topics, be it different careers and their perspectives, various fields of study, or different school boards like the one we recently did on ISC and CBSC. So, all in all, I think we are really benefiting here. Well, in today's episode of Voices, we're thrilled to welcome you, Miss Meghna Puthawala, CHRO at Collective Artist Network and former Senior VP at WWM and ET Edge, Times of India Group. With over 22 years of experience across media, entertainment, events, B2B conferences, and exhibitions, Meghna ma'am has driven the HR strategy, vision, and culture across many reputable organizations. A very warm welcome to you, ma'am.
Thank you
This
so much.
conversation, this conversation certainly promises to deliver invaluable perspectives and insights on the field of human resources. And if you have any questions, meanwhile, feel free to drop them in the chat box. We'll get to it later. So let's get started. To start, Meghna ma'am, could you share a bit about your career journey in HR? Like what led you to choose this field and how your path has evolved over the years?
So surprisingly, it was not like an informed choice. I actually started my career with sales. The first company that I kind of joined as a trainee, they were just launching their recruitment division, and it was the year 2000. Uh, and there was a lot of demand for Y2K professionals in USA. So they were basically hiring a lot of software engineers to work in US based companies. And I was given a chance saying that, would you want to, since you're a fresher, would you want to kind of, move into this and try it out? And I was like, yes, I would. And I think that's where the whole HR journey began. It started with recruitment. And then I realized that, oh, this is something I'm good at, I enjoy. And over a period of time, you realize that there's much more to HR than just recruitment. And yeah, but that's how the journey evolved, really. So it was not really a thought out decision.
Wow, that is like a very innovative thing. And kind of, I think you don't regret that now choosing the new thing.
Not at all. Not at all.
I'm learning from this actually, and I hope we all are because like these decisions I feel like really build our paths in the future. Like it's not necessary to pursue what you've always think of pursuing, and I think that's something. Also, I'm sure many students are interested in pursuing a career in human resources and are curious about what a typical day in your life looks like as the Chief Human Resources Officer. Could you just walk us through your daily routine and like your responsibilities in the company?
Yeah, sure. So every day looks very different, really. There is no set standard of how the day should or would look like. But largely, the role comprises of I would put it into just a couple of buckets. One is obviously talent acquisition, which is your hiring and getting the right talent in the company. So that is one function that I oversee. We have a team of specialist recruiters who do the hiring. Then comes HR operations, which includes once the employee has onboarded with us, how do we take care of it? So right from induction to getting the person, understand which teams they're joining, what are their KPIs, how will they function within the team, any kind of requirements that the employee may have during that journey. So that is the entire bit of employee life cycle management. The next thing that we look after is also performance appraisals and development. Uh, the fourth bucket, which I would say, is training and development. So, how do we map employees' career journeys? How do we develop them into into different roles? How do they progress within the organization? So all of this. So there's just like a whole lot of things, and across a day, there are different facets of it. Sometimes you're talking to employees, taking feedbacks. Sometimes you're just engaging with them to understand if everything is all right. Sometimes you're talking to the business to understand what are their hiring requirements, what are the kind of talent crunches they're facing. So yeah, the day is very diverse every day, and there are a lot of functions that kind of go to complete the entire facet of a HR professional. So yes, that's how.
Now that is a whole lot and also very significant, I feel. So I found it very interesting personally. And also something that I have wondered about, like, what are the different career paths and progression opportunities in this field? Like, I know there are roles like HR business partner and those focused on recruitment, like you said, but
Mhm.
like, what is the broader picture?
So, obviously, with changing times now, even the HR field is evolving. With a lot of focus now coming on AI, a lot of operational work now getting automated. A lot of tasks that HR primarily handled earlier, or which were traditional HR roles, are now evolving into very different kind of skill sets. So, if I have to kind of broadly, give a I wouldn't say it's a career path, but these are the different options that one could see while they're in HR domain. So you could either be specializing in one particular field in HR, or you could also choose to be a generalist. A lot of companies look at both options depending on the size and the nature of business. So larger organizations will have bifurcation of functions, like you will have someone who will specialize in talent acquisition. So you will have someone who will do only recruitment or getting people inside the company, or you will have HR business partners who basically align with the business teams to understand what are their requirements and how does HR support in fulfilling those requirements when it comes to people. You could also specialize in training and development, which is also a very critical part of HR, where you kind of understand what are the training needs of the organization and how do we upskill the organization as a whole. There are a lot of people who specialize in organizational development, because what also happens is over a period of time, businesses change, environments change. There's a lot of change management that is required. Sometimes organizations undergo structural changes, or the very nature of the business changes. So all these different kind of changes need to be managed when it comes to people and the structure. So that is another one field that I would say which is also part of HR. Generalist would typically mean someone who does all of this. Smaller organizations tend to have smaller teams and one person doing multiple functions. Larger organizations would have more specializations into different functions. But yeah, all these are career paths which could eventually lead you to become an expert in one of these areas, or you become HR generalist, and over a period of time, then you move into senior HR leader roles, senior regional HR leader roles, or you head the HR of a company. So
So
that's
basically,
how
the
typical.
company relies a lot on HR, especially during like structural changing times.
Absolutely, absolutely. Because while traditionally HR is viewed as a very operational, was viewed as a very operational, because it emerged from the factory setting during the Industrial Revolution, when you had a large amount of labor that needed to be taken care of. Uh, and that aspect of HR also still exists, right? There are a lot of people who take care of industrial relations or that. Uh, but with changing times and now service industry emerging, the need for HR to kind of contain the culture of the organization and ensure that the organization is up to date with the times, because basically people are the main resources of any organization. So to ensure that you have the right people at the right place is by
So
far the
like
most
a
important
bridging,
function.
bridging the gaps thing.
Absolutely, yeah.
And now you just talked about the various departments kind of in this field. So are there any like specific certifications or additional qualifications that could really make a difference and like benefit someone who's looking to pursue a career in HR, like maybe SHRM or something like that?
Yeah, so if purely from certification point of view, there are like quite a few bodies which do a certification, SHRM being one of them. There is also HRCI, which does your PHR certifications, very similar to the SHRM certifications. There is a UK-based body called CIPD, which also does a lot of certifications. Within India, I think TIS does a lot of postgraduate diploma programs, especially in organization development. There is TVS Rao, which is an institute which does a lot of competency development and mapping. So there are a lot of certifications. My suggestion to young, kids who are kind of wanting to grow in this field is uh, practical knowledge always helps much more
Yeah.
than any certification program on standalone basis. Are these certifications important? Yes, they add to your knowledge. However, given a chance, definitely try and see if you can intern somewhere, or figure out if you can practically work on certain projects, which will give you an idea as to what certification you can choose, because each of these certifications span across different areas of expertise. So, what suits you best, or what is it that interests you more? It will help you make a choice, a better informed choice.
Yeah, that's very true. Like, personally, I also feel that like student outreach also helps us out with these workshops or maybe showing us what the
Yep.
practical work on field work is. And that really gives you practical insight rather than just seeing online or maybe going through books and what they tell you. And also, it's continuously evolving, so it's better to do practically and catch up with it. And now, coming to like, I believe all of our listeners here would have this question in mind that while you maybe acquire or maybe recruit a fresh graduate for an HR role, what are some qualities or features you look at or you prioritize more compared to the others?
So actually a whole lot of it. There are a lot of things and again, this is very organization to organization dependent also, but largely if I have to kind of, narrow down the basic bare competencies that every HR aspiring student should kind of try and develop is essentially the very first should be the communication skills and interpersonal skills. The way you
Yeah.
are able to communicate is extremely important, because the role itself, the domain itself, is all about interacting with people, getting to know them, being available to people if they want to kind of, discuss something with you, or if they have any concerns, or they want to consult with you. So communication skills becomes very important, and not just from employee perspective. So your role also involves speaking to business leaders, understanding their requirements, understanding their pain points, ensuring that your business is well equipped with the right kind of people. So communication skill, I think, is absolutely must have, that anyone everywhere will definitely want to kind of look at. Um, the second, I think, most important thing is the ability to learn. Just like any other field, this field is constantly evolving. So when I personally kind of hire, I look at people who have this, a passion to learn constantly, evolve in their own roles. So they have curiosity, they want to know more. There is a passion for knowledge. So that again, I think is very important, especially in the starting phase of your career where you're still learning and trying to gain expertise in your domain. So I think that I think combined with ability to have maintain confidentiality and trust, that also is equally important in HR, because the field that we are in requires us to deal with a lot of data, information, which is very confidential, and also trust. So when someone walks up to you and you are HR in a company, people trust you to be fair and confidential. So that that is a very important quality to understand, and to not react, but to be able to listen into people and to be kind of be fair. I think that I think largely these three should be something that all young aspiring people should focus on.
The- all the people listening really take these notes down. These are very valuable. Like I personally am taking this note down in my brain. And yeah, okay. So moving forward, now I know there are many misconceptions about like the jobs in this field, what the roles comprised of. Like people just like a lot of people, I believe, think that HR is only about hiring people and recruiting them and then firing them, and it's just about that. But as you said, there is much more. So, are there any misconceptions that you've come across in your experience, and you could share that with us?
So a lot of them across years, and they keep changing, right? With each passing generation, they keep changing. So I think the last memes that I saw on HR was HR employees making rangoli, and that's
Oh
the
my God.
that's the only thing that we are, HR is, or HR calling employees to cut birthday cakes. And the salespeople are, like we are so busy with work, and all HR does is call people to cut birthday cakes and all of
Oh
that.
my God.
So yeah, but that's not real life really. It's just exaggerated version. Does HR make rangolis? Yes, we do. We do, but we do a lot more than do that. We do.
That's true. I mean, a little community engagement won't hurt anyone.
Yeah, so engagement is absolutely essential because typically you end up spending about 8 to 10 hours on your work, right? Bare minimum. And if I count traveling to and fro and other time that you spend with your colleagues, it's almost like you're spending one third of your life in your office. So a little engagement, a little relief from your monotonous work or routine does help. So yeah, all of that. So yeah, this is one of the misconceptions. So no, HR is definitely not about that. Engagement does not mean doing games and cutting cakes and all that. Engagement starts from the day you hire a person. How have you interacted with a person while you were talking to them? Did you make them wait for a long time before you interviewed them? Did you even bother to kind of have basic courtesy and offer them water or make them sit in a comfortable environment? Or how did your leaders speak to them? All this kind of adds up to the engagement. Once you've hired a person, whether the person knows what role that they have been hired for, is there clarity in terms of what they were promised and what was given? So engagement is definitely not about making rangolis and all that. I think that's one misconception which at least the HR fraternity should definitely remove away from their minds. The other most common I have heard across the generation is that HR is for people who want to take it easy, right? Sales and marketing has targets. Finance is difficult. HR is for people who want to do 9 to 5 jobs, and
I mean,
it's for women. They can chill. They can just go at
what
night.
I personally got from this interview till now is that it is the literal balancing factor of the organization. And I don't believe that is very easy.
Yeah, so it's definitely not a 9 to 5 job. So for all people who are aspiring to be in HR, trust me, it takes everything. It takes a lot of effort. It takes a lot of commitment to be in this field. The role itself is so complex, and it requires interaction with so many types of people, teams, engaging with different kinds of sets of people. So you're dealing with people who want to join you, people who are within the organization, people who take decisions, even people who exit, to ensure that they're exiting on good notes so that, the image of your company is well maintained. So it's definitely, this career is not meant for someone who's looking for a 9 to 5 job or who's looking for a easy operational job. It's not. So that's, I think that's one myth which is uh, prevalent, which I think it's time that we remove it. And I think the
Right.
last one that I've heard most often is, HR does not require, anyone can do HR. It's like if you can't do anything else, you can definitely do HR because it's just common sense. And what is there in HR? I mean, it's just like it's about talking to people. So if you love talking to people, you can do HR. No, no, you cannot. It requires specialized skills. It requires a body of knowledge. Especially in India, if you're working, you have employment laws which you should know. There's a whole lot of knowledge which is required and whole lot of skills which are required to be a good HR professional. It's just like any other domain, just like you would not expect a doctor to be a doctor without doing the requisite, studies, or for that matter, an engineer, or for that matter, finance person. You would expect them to have finance knowledge. An HR professional also is required to have a certain amount of knowledge. It's not meant for, oh, anyone can do it. No, it does require effort and specialized knowledge. I think that. And HR is boring, is I think HR is very boring. And they are the fun police, is what, it's like uh, HR is supposed to kind of be the police around the organization. So people say, oh, if HR has come, you can't do certain things, you can't do. That's not the case. HR will always be the police because they're supposed to maintain compliances, laws, and the environment of the organization. But that's not the case. HR can be a
And
lot
also to
of
keep
fun.
the peace from people who say that HR can be done by anyone, because any knowledge that I've accumulated, it requires a lot of experience and also knowledge,
Yeah.
because it is spread across such various departments and it's not like a single path.
No, it's not. And especially with a lot of these influencers coming up and saying that, oh, uh, HR is just a layer, which is a waste of time. It's not. I've personally experienced this across multiple organizations where the presence of a specialized body of people who understand people is extremely important for you to kind of run your business successfully. So, yeah. So, I guess these are the myths which I would really want the next generation to not have.
I hope everybody has cleared. If they thought that HR was anything like this, we it is not.
No, it's not.
It is much more than that.
Yeah.
And okay, so again, just if you could sum up like all that you've said about how HR really contributes to the overall success of the organization or the business firm.
So, a lot of things. How effective the HR of a company is determined by a lot of things, right? There are a lot of these smaller factors that you can see across and observe and come to know. How engaged are the employees? How happy is the workplace? Are people leaving you too frequently? And there are a lot of these things that you could check, right? Your attrition levels is a big sign of whether people are happy or not happy with how the organization is being run. Are people finding enough opportunities to grow within the organization? So people will leave an organization for very few. There are very few basic things, right? Either you're not happy with the work environment, which is again an important function of HR, or they do not see growth, which is why they will pursue career opportunities outside, which is again an important aspect of HR on how you're able to provide opportunities. Um, so yes, so largely these are the metrics by which you could know whether you're being successful as an HR team, as a HR person. Largely these, how effective you are in supporting the business teams, how proactive you are. So do you understand the business that your company is in? HR is not a function which can be aloof from the business. In fact, my advice to anyone who wants to pursue HR is whichever organization you decide to join and wherever you work, rather than HR, first focus on understanding the business. If you understand what the business is, and understanding the business is not just knowing we are into, not knowing the vision, mission, and values. That's not business. Business is, where is the money coming from? Where is the money going out? What are those different areas of functions? How does each team function? So once you're able to understand that, only then you can be effective as a HR person. Only then you can truly understand and have a conversation and support the business. That whole business partnering can happen only if you understand the business. Otherwise, you can't really partner.
That's very insightful, truly, because it really clears how HR is like plays a very significant role. And it's like, as you said, it's not aloof from the company. So it's not like a straight path and different from the company that you have this to do and it's just set like a routine. But like it keeps evolving, it keeps changing. So that's one thing for sure. And my final one thing I would also like to add that you said about people spending so much time of their days of their lives in the office and like the community engagement stuff should be there. And obviously, it's not all about HR, but it's an important aspect. So I would just like to add that nowadays the work culture is really growing and also being competitive to an extent. So, like the work hours are increasing rapidly and insanely for some points. So, the all the community engagement stuff they may seem like little or maybe not so significant, but actually they are what really keeps the person truly attached to the company, not just for the sake of coming to work, but also because they enjoy it. So that is a very like good factor I personally feel about HR. And so, my final question to you, ma'am, what advice would you give to students who are thinking about a career in HR and are there any key things that they should consider before, considering this field or entering this field? Something that you would like to say?
No, not really. So, if you've made up your mind that this is the field that you want to pursue, uh, I think just focus on few things, and that should kind of help you, navigate this domain easier. Like I said, focus on your comm skills. Try and see how you can improve that. Also, if you can kind of, constantly keep yourself updated on, and there are various forums available, right now you have the world on your hands. You have social media, you have everything, right? So there are enough and more sources of knowledge available, so constantly do read and keep updated on what is happening in this domain, especially when it comes to laws, when it comes to employment laws. It's, even if you're doing one specialized part of HR, that knowledge helps. So keep yourselves updated. I think that's one thing. And one personal trait that I think I would advise, and this is nothing to do with HR really, it has everything to do with any career that you choose. The ability to have accountability and result orientation, in easier words, get things done. That is what everyone wants. Today, if you step out in any field, people want people who get stuff done. So if you're encountering something, I would love to hire a person who, instead of, if I who constantly does not come to me with 10 problems, but tells me these are the 10 problems and maybe these are the two ways I can think of getting a solution out. uh, so my and this is across organizations, right? We love to hire people who are constantly wanting to get stuff done, whose focus is to get results, and that applies to HR domain as well. So problems will be there everywhere. It is how you're able to kind of view those problems and change your entire attitude towards a problem and figure out how you can get results. So I think result orientation is something which, and it's not a skill that cannot be learned. So young people definitely, as in when you get a chance, when you encounter problems, it's something that you have to consciously start thinking. Never go back with the problem saying, "Oh, this is a problem. This cannot be done. This is the issue." Yes, there are issues. What can I do? How do I get get a result to this? What kind of solution can I offer? So make it a practice, make it a habit, and I think that should help anyone who wants to kind of go ahead in this career.
My personally, I would like to add my diary literally has get stuff done written on it. That is why I was like laughing. I'm like, yes, exactly, following that.
Yeah.
And that is very true, obviously. And problem solving skills and communications are very essential in any field,
Yeah.
especially in HR, but like in any field as a personality also. Now, if there are any questions, there can you can put them in the chat. While they do that, I'd like to ask you one question
Sure.
that while like I personally am looking at HR as an career path opportunity maybe. So do you think that people with maybe management or human resources undergraduate degree or a psychology degree, do they stand a better chance, or is that everything is the same and then the masters matter more and the person's resume matters more, something like that?
No, so there's no fixed answer to that really. It depends on what is the organization looking at that point of time. So what happens is, assuming today I want to hire a fresher, right? There is very little way for me to judge a fresher amongst multiple people who will want to apply for that position. There are only so many ways I can assess on who will fit well into that role. So that is the time when I start looking for education or knowledge. It's just a basic criteria of filtration, right? But when it comes down to doing practical work, practical knowledge always helps more. It's not something that will stop you from doing anything. So I don't think anyone needs feel that, oh, if I've not done. I'm a BSc in chemistry. I had no
Oh,
HR background. Like I said, I started my career with sales, right? But the minute I realized that this is the field I want to pursue, I've done my certifications and my postgraduate diploma in that field, because then I realized that this is the field I want to be in, so I want to gain knowledge. So I don't think that is really a challenge. However, it helps. Like I said, any kind of knowledge, and especially if you have knowledge in that domain, it certainly helps, but it's not really a restriction factor. But yeah, if anyone is serious and wants to make a career in HR, please do kind of try and see if you can get specialized knowledge. That would really help.
more knowledge never
Yeah.
disappoints. It always has.
Yes.
Okay, so I think we're done here. Thank you so much for your valuable insight. I'm sure our listeners will appreciate your advice as they explore their own career paths. Now, this has been a very, very enlightening session, and especially for those of us considering HR as a future career path. Meghna, ma'am, we are truly very privileged to have you with us today. Like, you have clarified so many doubts and also provided kind of a roadmap for HR student aspirants. So thank you so much for your time and your expertise. It's been invaluable for us.
Thank you, Vanshika. No, it was a pleasure interacting with you, and more than happy to kind of help the next generation here. So, yeah, pleasure having this session. And I wish all
Thank you.
everyone who's logged in here all the very best. And
Thank you. Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Thanks.
And thank you to all the people who have joined also. Um, We are looking forward to see you on our next podcast of Voices by Student Outreach, where we'll be hosting Mr. Yash Jha, a presenter, producer, and writer at ESPN. Mr. Jha will share exciting glimpses into the dynamic world of sports media, from behind the scenes of live sports coverage to the art of crafting engaging stories. Don't miss this opportunity to gain insights into this thrilling field and explore potential career paths in sports media. Stay tuned and see you. Bye bye. Thank you.